and we fucking went in and, you know, they're the extras.
Which is another thing that does your job for you.
It's just being around the real people.
Joe putting the cops from Miami, you know, all in these parts, and it just, like, by osmosis, you feel more legitimate. The thing feels more authentic to the audience. You don't know why, because you don't know what the fucking culture is of the tactical narcotics team in Miami. But when you see the real guys, you kind of, you're like, yeah, that seems right.
And Miami was a perfect place to have it, too.
Yeah.
Miami.
Well, it's also specific to this because it's based on this real tactical narcotics team in Miami, and the guy who ran this guy Chris Cassiano is Joe's friend, and he's the guy that my character is based on. So Chris, we went, you know, we rode along with Chris down there. We went with that team and watched them operate and then hung out with them. And then they came up and they were, you know, all in the movie. And Chris was around as a technical advisor the whole time. So any question, like little details, all right, how do I go through this door? What do I do? What do you do here? What's the protocol here? What, you know, all of that stuff was kind of overseen by him so that it was how they really do it.
That whole fucking town is so... Did you ever see Cocaine Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
The entire fucking graduating class of the police academy one year either wound up murdered or in jail.
But that's what happens when all of a sudden you push so much fucking money into something, right? And it's like, before they even kind of figured out, like, you know, and there wasn't even a lot of stigma. It was like, cocaine, whatever. It's kind of rich guys, fun drug. But, you know, there's some statistic about, like, you know, the amount of money in the banks in Miami was like the same as the rest of the country.
More banks per capita in Miami than anywhere else in the country.
Right.
Because they were just laundering money.
Right.
And they got away with it. They literally got away with it.
Have you ever flown over Bimini? You know, the island? So if you ever fly over Bimini, there are all these, like, Cessnas underwater, all these planes, like, around the island. Because what they used to do, Bimini's like the closest, it's 50 miles off the coast of Florida. They would come in with a plane full of drugs and just crash the plane into the water. They would land it.
On purpose?
On purpose. Because there's no runway on Bimini. There's no,
it's like, fuck it, we're going to dump the plane in the
water. They would
and
have 10 cigarette boats, like a flotilla of boats waiting. They would crash the plane. They'd offload the drugs as the plane was sinking. Right, and then they'd put it. The Coast Guard figures it. They're always coming for them. That's why they have 10 boats. They throw the drugs into one of the boats, and they got a 1 out of 10 chance of making it. They just scatter, and the Coast Guard goes after one of them and hopes they get the right one. And not, it's just like, no, it's just taking a cruise tonight. What's the problem, officer? But the planes are still all submerged, like the water's so clear you can see.
How many fucking oh wow!
Oh, there you go.
That's crazy. Yeah. How many fucking planes are out there?
I flew over it probably 20 years ago, but I mean, there's.
Yeah, that was
I don't know how long.
Wild.
I mean, but if you think of probably the cost of one of those little Cessnas, probably wasn't. I mean, with the amount of drugs they were moving on them. There you go.
Fucking wild.
That's crazy. They're kind of landing where it's sort of shallow. You know?
Yeah, they land and it's like
fuck it, we can swim.
5 to 10 feet of water, and what do they land at? Whatever, 55 knots. So you just try
water looks nice too. Like, yeah, sure.
Wow.
I mean, it won't be comfortable, but I mean, Sully landed a 737 or whatever it was in the water.
Yeah, fucking wild. What a crazy part of our culture that happened.
Yeah.
That the whole cocaine run during the 80s in particular, like Miami Vice, all that shit. Like it's like it shaped the entire country.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
I just remember that one guy in that documentary who was like, I think he was from Boston, and he was like the pilot, and he had figured out the route, and he was like, man, like, we could have gotten away with this forever. Somebody talked, and he knew that's the only way we would have been caught. He was like, I had it all. He was clearly really smart.
A ton of guys did, too. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of people out there that were like, yeah, we had a nice run. That's why I got 8 houses. You know, it's like.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the real crimes that people got away with, was bringing cocaine into this country. There's a lot of people that got very wealthy, including banks. which is just really crazy.
Banks with the jewelry companies.
Oh,
There was like more Jaguar dealerships in Miami than everywhere else in the country. And he was like, doesn't pay to ask questions. So, yep, I guess a lot of people like our cars here.
You don't say all cash, sure.
Yeah, we can make you a deal, sure.
But how many backyards in Miami still to this day have bags just buried somewhere that nobody knows about?
It's probably worth just checking. You know?
Yeah.
When you buy a house in Miami, just dig the yard up.
Well, at least find out who owned it before you. Oh, he's a pilot.
Yeah.
Get a truck. Get a tractor. It's time to dig up the backyard. I mean, one of those guys in the films had millions of dollars just buried in his backyard. They had nowhere to put it.
Right.
They were making so much money, they just had to bury it places.
That's fucking crazy.
Well, it's why it's a perfect backdrop for the film, because, that the situation that the cops, without giving away too much of the plot, but the situation that the cops are dealing with is a very real situation. I mean, so many DEA agents turn dirty. So many cops turn dirty. It's because they just get
so
confronted.
much temptation.
Yes.
It's like you take these people, you got like 6, 7 people, they fucking work for a living, they get the same bullshit they have to deal with, and there's $20 million. And it makes for a great like drama too, even like with the performances, because all of a sudden somebody's thinking like, okay, how are they going to react? Who's going to be the first person to say, I'm going to have to turn this all in, and like getting to play that shit. And for me also, I like, without being, sanctimonious or preachy, because I really think movies, we're talking about like what they do well. What they do very poorly is deliver messages or lecture. As soon as you get into that thing, the audience is like, I'm going to go to church for that or fucking school. I don't need that shit here. But I like that what was underneath it is like, this is a fucking hard job. And that there's a lot of value. Like these characters, the ones that are trying to do their job are trying to get through the day. And just at the end of the day, have done their job like they said they were going to do, adhere to the fucking ethics that they're supposed to, and at the end of the day, be able to sleep at night and believe there's some value in not fucking stealing the money or flipping somebody over, you know what I mean, and doing all that shit. And that's the win. The win doesn't have to be get away with the bag of money or fucking, save the world from, the evil scientist laser beam or whatever. It's like, at the end of the day, if you can fucking live with yourself and say, look, I acquitted myself according to what the fucking expectations were and what am I true to my word. And I think there's I don't know, that affected me. I found that kind of moving. And you can't do it if you create like, if it's to credit to Joe's script, like just two-dimensional characters. Oh, I'm the hero, I'm the villain, or this person would never do that. They all have to be real people, like you would be, subject to like temptation. Money just represents whatever that thing is you think you want, or that's going to make your life better. It's something different to everybody, but and especially when you're facing like real, the custody thing or the the sick relative or whatever it is. It's a real thing. Nobody's immune to that kind of temptation, Sometimes I think it's cavalier to be like, oh, well, you're dirty. You're not. Like, putting people in a very tough situation a lot of times, particularly if they're feeling like undervalued. Like the woman, the scene where Catalina's like, I get fucking pissed. I get yelled at. I get shit on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm out here grinding every fucking day. It's a lot to ask. And I think it's worth kind of making that, heroic without sort of indicating too much.
No, it's really well written.